Because not only do they, not address this question of the choice, why they chose a three-drug method rather than a one-drug method, but they essentially lied about it. And this is not in the quote here, but it's in the case. When asked to explain why they chose why they stayed with the three-drug method, they said they were, quote, guided by the Supreme Court's decision in Days v. Reese, which happened in 2008. But then it came out in documents in court that they actually made the decision in 2007. Now, that may seem trivial to you, but think about it. I mean, the Attorney General of California and the state of California, in its legal effort to legally execute somebody, was lying to a California court about a basic factual issue, not a kind of thing where you could be confused about it. And it points up a kind of lawless quality to our commitment to the death penalty right now. It is truly one of the, I think, tensions and contradictions. Again, the fact that we can't find the drugs also highlights our international isolation. A lot of these drugs are now made in Europe. Because the European community has banned the death penalty and basically requires all member states to not only not have the death penalty but oppose it, European states can't be in the business of shipping execution drugs out of their country. And so again, it's created this very curious set of illegalities. Some very kind of gray market companies have been set up in Europe to try to sell quasi-legal drugs to American states. It's almost like an illegal drug market in death penalty drugs, which is a weird concept if we're talking about something that's supposed to anchor our system of legality. Probably no two recent cases better exemplify kind of the conundrums of the death penalty and humanity in America today than two executions that took place the day after my birthday, this last September 22nd, 2012. In Georgia, Troy Davis was executed. It was an execution that outraged a lot of people around the world because there's been substantial debate about whether Davis actually did the crime. He's always maintained his innocence. There's a lot of issue about the reliability of the witnesses. We don't have really great time to go into it now. There's concern that he's on death row not because he's black, but because his victim was white. That tends to be the most powerful racial effect in the death penalty. Actually, there's fewer people of color in death rows than there is in prisons generally, partly because if you're favoring white victims by sentencing their killers to death, they're more likely to be killed by somebody who's white than because homicide is intra-racial. You tend to kill the people you know, basically. And in a racially divided society, you tend to kill people in your own race. So you end up with a death row that's whiter than you otherwise would have. In any event, for Troy Davis's execution struck many people both in this country and around the world as an outrage. A fair number of Republican politicians even were advocating for Davis. It was a very interesting debate. Not so much debate about Lawrence Brewer. He was executed on the same day in Texas with very little fanfare for the hate crime murder of James Byrd 7 years earlier. He had dragged to death an African-American former prisoner himself behind a truck, a brutal murder with two other men, one of whom was also on death row in Texas. And he was executed without a whole lot of protest. And I think these cases kind of highlight the fact that, on the one hand, we have this great set of racial justice and human rights concerns about executing people. On the other hand, one of the reasons we execute people is our abhorrence of hate crime, racist hate crimes. And so again, I urge you to think about the American death penalty less as a battle between two sets of opposing values and more as a battle within one rather contradictory set of values, or values that are sometimes hard to square with each other. We want justice, but we also want to make sure we're right, and we want to make sure that procedures have been followed, and we want to make sure that there's a racial balance to this justice, and it creates a very, very demanding and difficult kind of an enterprise. And it begs the question, is there really a perfect death penalty candidate? If you decide that the way to make the death penalty more palatable is to just go after the real heinous crimes, the most grisly murders where the victim's head is chopped up and body parts are barbecued, etc., it usually turns out that the person who did that is not the ideal death penalty candidate because they're bonkers, or they have other extreme problems that make them less killable in the eyes of a jury once they have to think about that person's whole life. On the other hand, if you focus on kind of cold-blooded killers who are doing it in the middle of a robbery, etc., you're getting crimes that don't look all that different than lots of crimes that send people to prison for 10 or 15 or 20 years, and there's a disparity issue. Probably the one person that almost a vast majority of Americans felt good about killing was Tim McVeigh. It was kind of interesting. Polls showed that people supported his execution even though they opposed the death penalty. So maybe we need more Tim McVeighs if we're going to keep the death penalty going. He certainly had great lawyers, had fantastic defense. Very few people think he was innocent. There doesn't seem to be a lot of people, including him, that were claiming he was innocent. But again, how many McVeighs? We can't hope for too many. That's clear. One of the real troubling features of the death penalty today and its humanity, and this is a paradoxical issue, is the so-called death row phenomenon. It's the truth that other than the European community, which has made a treaty decision to abandon the death penalty, no human rights court around the world has ever held the death penalty itself to be degrading, inhuman, or torture, degrading punishment. Instead, what they have held is that keeping people in prison for years ahead of executing them could be a human rights violation. And that is the issue that was raised by a recent execution in my former home state of Florida, a man named Manuel Valle, who had killed a Coral Gables police officer in 1978. And he was on death row for over 30 years when he was finally executed. And it raises a number of concerns. As Justice Breyer wrote in a very interesting dissent that I've put up on our website, the commonly accepted justifications for the death penalty are close to non-existent in a case such as this one. It is difficult to imagine how an execution following so long a period of incarceration could add significantly to that punishment's deterrent value. I mean, think about it. If it takes over 25 years to kill you, which is true in California, and you're out on the streets committing crimes, I mean, you're much more likely to die if you stay out on the streets than if you get put on California's death row. I mean, your life expectancy goes up the day you arrive on death row, and that's a very odd. It's certainly not going to deter you. Might serve other functions. It seems yet more unlikely that the execution coming after what is close to a lifetime of imprisonment matters in respect to incapacitation. In other words, we've had 30 years of this guy in prison without any trouble. He doesn't, he looks like his better days are behind him in terms of chasing around and committing crimes. And so it doesn't look like we need to execute this person in order to prevent a deadly killer from ever getting out on parole. We also give him life without parole. Leaves the question of retribution. Is it really going to satisfy a victim so many years later? And I think that's one of the most interesting conundrums. Recently, Mumia Abu Jamal, who's become essentially a poster man for many death penalty opponents around the world, accused of killing a Philadelphia police officer about 30 years ago. Also claims he's innocent, but lots of people continue to believe he's guilty. In any event, the prosecutors there decided, finally after multiple retrials and orders for new hearings, to just get the death penalty off the table and give him life. I think without parole. And next to him in this picture is Maureen Faulkner, who's the widow of police officer Daniel Faulkner, who was killed 30 years ago on that terrible day. And I think this really underscores to me one of the real paradoxes of the death penalty. That you've got, on the one hand, somebody who's in prison for 30 years, but from the point of view of the victim, there's been no justice during that time. Right? None of those days in prison could be seen by Maureen Faulkner as expiation for the crime that had befallen her husband, because during the whole time she was being told, look, he's fighting the death penalty. He's not getting punished. He's avoiding the punishment. And so we created a weird situation where somebody can be suffering. I mean, after all, 30 years in prison is, on a global basis, one of the most severe prison sentences you can have. I mean, if they sentence you in the International Criminal Court for genocide, I think 25 years to life is the max. So you're up there with Slobodan Milosevic and other people who have faced or are facing crimes of genocide. And yet, that 30 years in prison isn't considered punishment. On the other side, a victim has been told, keep your wound open for 30 years. We'll eventually give you closure. And here's a lot of disinfectant in the meantime to keep going. There's a very powerful moral problem there, it seems to me, both for the victim and for the perpetrator. The perpetrator, if they really are guilty, can't really seek redemption if they appear to not be being punished, and the victim doesn't receive justice. this growing dissatisfaction with the death penalty, I think, is reflected in something I never expected to see, which is politicians who have to face the electorate coming out against the death penalty. So just last month, we had Governor John Kitzhaber of Oregon sign, I think, an executive order essentially commuting all the people on death row in Oregon. And he's going to follow up trying to get Oregon to just repeal the death penalty. Maybe he'll get repealed, right? So it's a big gamble for him. But that's pretty interesting to see somebody who faces, George, the governor of Illinois, who had the mass commutation, was about to go to prison himself and was leaving office. This guy's planning to run for re-election. Gil Garcetti, former district attorney of Los Angeles, somebody you will have seen before in California statewide politics, and I suspect you'll see him again. When Gil Garcetti is the poster face of opposition to the death penalty rather than Mumia Abu-Jamal, you know that something's changing in the political space around the death penalty. And that brings me to my last slide of today. You all are going to, those of you that are California voters, are going to actually face an opportunity that no voter in the state has had since I was an undergraduate. And I think it was actually just before I got here, and I was not a Californian for a year, so I could vote. I think I voted in the 78 election, so maybe I did vote on the death penalty once. But basically, the last time this was before the voters was in 1978, and it was overwhelmingly approved. And politicians who've become our leading politicians, people like Pete Wilson, George Majan, Ray Davis, were some of the leading supporters of the death penalty, right? So it was a huge tide of support. Now, for the first time in decades, it looks like there's enough ballots now, signatures now collected, that you will have a chance to make a decision yourself on the ballot in November. I guess the signatures will be collected, finished sometime in the spring. There'll be a decision as to whether there's enough. Now, we'll look more at this ballot initiative. It's very interesting. It's not crafted in terms of some of the traditional human rights arguments about the death penalty. It's much more about cost, about futility, about what the money could be used for. Some of it will go to solving cold cases. But I think it's a very, very interesting moment. You might think that I may have a bias against this, since my wife is a death penalty lawyer and she'll be out of a job. Our whole plan was her income would pay for college for the kids, so we'd have to, maybe summer teaching will be in the offing for me. We'll have to think about that. The other problem I have with it, and I'm happy to see her fired, that's actually not a problem for me, but the other problem I have with it is it would replace the death penalty with life without parole. And I happen to believe that life without parole is independently raises very, very serious human rights issues of the sort that the Supreme Court will address. So in any event, I hope in the course of this semester, you will have a lot of opportunity to educate yourself on this issue. I don't know if we can find a space or time to hold a debate on this. Certainly, there are a lot of paper topics that could be, you're going to be writing papers for this class. I think some of you will hopefully want to write about realignment and all the exciting things that are happening. Some of you will want to go back to your counties and find out what's happening, interview probation officers and prosecutors and judges. But some of you may want to write about the death penalty and write editorials for your hometown newspapers on one side or the other. I don't know where you'll come down. Pretty clearly, the system's broken. It's pretty hard to defend the way it is now, and we can talk about whether there's any way to fix it. It would probably start with hiring a lot more defense lawyers, which may not be popular, but it would be worth a try. Now, I know everyone's fidgeting, but I think we have you here technically till close to 3:30, and what we're going to now do is we need to take attendance again. After this week, I don't think we're going to need to do it, but in case there are already people left on the wait list, we need to clarify this, so I'm going to call up our GSIs. Please don't leave yet. Those of you that are listening on podcast, we're done for today, and we'll take up the question next week of why we punish. What is the fundamental motivation to punish? Thank you.